You want a solid keyboard and you don't want to go broke making it happen? Then you need to stick around as I explain why the $170 GMMK Pro is still the move. Available in slate black or white ice, which is an odd way to say silver. This is a 75% or 83 key aluminum brute. It's a 65% keyboard with a full function row and a rotary knob. When I say brute, I'm not kidding. This joint is heavy as at 3.3 pounds, but it's still only slightly bigger than the 65% board. There's a massive Glorious logo across the back, and the finish is smooth, clean, and free of blemishes. The angles are crisp, and there's no floppy feet. The board is set at 6 degrees, and it's a comfy angle, and is complemented by a wrist rest very well. The included aluminum plate is tough, and it survived several switch swaps without scratches or damage. There's a hot swap PCB that accepts 5-pin switches and features Glorious branded sockets. This is a south-facing setup that provides greater compatibility with certain keycaps like GMK. The downside is that the south-facing LEDs don't properly illuminate shine-through keycaps. You've been warned. There are LEDs on both sides of the case, so there's still some opportunities for cool lighting. There's a USB-C socket mounted in the center, literally the center, not favoring a side like most keyboards. The socket does a great job of hiding the plug, and it's tucked nicely under the top. Another fairly unique feature is that this is a gasket-mounted keyboard and not tray-mounted like the offerings from Ducky or Drop. Opening the keyboard, you'll find the top, bottom, and mated plate and PCB. Be aware there's a small JST connector going from the PCB to the bottom case. It's easy to separate, just be ready for it. And don't worry, Glorious wants you to dig in, so no opening the keyboard won't affect the 2-year warranty. There's foam in the lower case and between the plate and PCB. It isn't bad foam, it's actually pretty okay. But there's awesome aftermarket varieties from vendors like Stupid Fish. And I just like saying Stupid Fish. The case fits very tightly and the dampers were pretty beat up when I opened it. Once assembled, there's not really any flex or indication that this is gasket mount. It's rock hard. Nope. Don't. If you're looking for a flexible gasket mount, you might try the poly plate. But as it sits, this ain't it. As stated, Glorious offers a polycarbonate plate and a brass plate. There's also an FR4 plate available from AVX Works. Be warned, swapping the plate's a bit frustrating, and I ended up finding some crooked and stripped screws when swapping in new stabilizers. Although they're much improved, GOAT still seems a little headstrong. At the time of this filming, you can buy a set of the V2 stabilizers for half off when you buy them in the same purchase as a Barebones Pro. The installed stabs come pre-over-lubed, but still slightly rattly. Not sure if it's the stabs or the G-Lube, but it's definitely not GOAT. I definitely recommend grabbing a set of V2 stabilizers or whatever your favorite is. The included stabs are just good enough, but definitely not GOAT enough. See what I did there? If you want to go with the V2s, they're solid but require very light lubing or they'll stick down. If you find the keys returning slowly after lubing, you overdid it. I threw in a set of C3 equals Soulmates on too since I was in there. This is the best way to do all the popular stab mods with the least amount of effort and the best return, in my opinion. They're perfectly cut foam bits for the Band-Aid mod and the Holy mod. They even offer various thicknesses to fine-tune the sound and feel. I got the kit with a set of C3 stabilizers I bought, but they sell them separately for like $4.50. I think this is a must for all of my builds moving forward. And as you already know, there will be links below. Man, I absolutely love building with the Oil Kings. I went with the Artifact Bloom switches because the set was just under 50 bucks and it includes 1 U modifiers, which you'll need for this board. Make sure the kit you choose will work. Glorious GPBT kits have the necessary keys, and there are others too, just make sure you check first. I've been typing and gaming on this keyboard for a while and it's slightly muted, but it suits my taste very well. It's stiff, knock it off, but it's currently my favorite keyboard for long typing sessions. The keyboard is also QMK or VIA compatible, and you can also use Glorious Core software to make changes. Cores come a long way, and I suggest leaving it installed as it's crucial for firmware updates. Now the good stuff. Let's talk value. There's a whole product stack supporting this board, but that's beyond the scope of this review, so I'm focusing on this as a $170 bare bones keyboard, and it's a challenge not to see the value proposition offered here. There's no comparison to a $600 keyboard, but it holds its own when compared to the boards from the likes of the Drop Alt or the NK65 Aluminum Edition. I don't yet have a QK65, but I speculate that might change the conversation. But, and it's a big one, the GMMK Pro is on the shelf, in stock, all the time. All aluminum, 75% USB-C, PCB mounted stabilizers, hot swap, gasket mount, 2 layers of foam, a rotary knob, blocking for the arrow keys, control software, QMK and VIA support. Maybe you don't like the layout or the sound profile, that's cool, but it's hard to argue that there's not $170 value here. Even with some quality control issues in the past, the biggest issue I could find were the mashed gasket material, which could be fixed with the included extras, the V1 stabs, which can be swapped to V2 and had a discount when you order them with the board, and a few strip screws on the included aluminum plate. You'll need to separate the plate and PCB to swap the stabilizers, so that one's kind of a big deal, but certainly not a deal breaker. This is my personal board. I don't get cherry-picked review units, or even non-cherry-picked review units. Yet. So, this is exactly what I think you'd receive direct from Glorious or from your local micro center, if you're lucky enough to live near one. With those minor issues out in the open, there's nothing that makes me afraid to recommend this to anyone looking to get into mechanical keyboards while skipping the entry-level offerings. This is the good enough for those of you not looking to flex with your limited release $600 keyboard you waited for in a group buy for a year or more. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. Otherwise, roll right into this Drop Alt review for a smaller option that's still a performer. I'm out.